approaches Shayna, the girl that he has a crush on, at her locker. He asks her if she still needs help with her math later that afternoon, and she explains that she would love help since her boyfriend can't help her because they broke up. This is great news for Mikey, and he jumps to celebrate.
All right, they broke up, yes!
Miss Bliss reveals that the school hasn't had a dance in 6 years since one guy broke another student's nose in a fight over some girl. I'm guessing a lawsuit was settled for the school to pay for Pinocchio's nose job.
Those are all rumors.
The class asked Miss Bliss to request that Mr. Belding allow them to hold his 8th grade dance, and she says that she'll do her very best to convince him.
Yeah, so they kind of start this out with Miss Bliss's voiceover.
Well,
right?
Well,
and they use her voiceover to just tell us that they're going to start by ripping off Footloose.
Do you think that what's happening here, I feel like all these Miss Bliss episodes are always about setting a precedent for what will come later.
Yes.
So do you think the rest of the series is trying to make up for the lack of dances over the last 6 years?
That's the only explanation I could come up with.
Yeah, that they're cramming them in to make up for lost time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I could buy that.
Sorry, I'm just not buying it. Why would the school itself be held liable for what many teenage rivals do in the heat of passion to impress some girl on a daily basis? Why would this one single event prompt the school to bar all dances for something that is a daily common occurrence at all schools today, aka fighting?
I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
Tina asked Miss Bliss to go to a game with her that weekend, but Miss Bliss tells her that she can't because she has a Save the Whales dinner with Sherman, the guy she used to date. Tina is disappointed and insists that Sherman is a dork, and they go to talk to Mr. Belding about the dance, and he immediately turns him down. They try to change his mind by resurfacing old memories of his 8th grade dance, but their plan backfires. Miss Bliss insists that she believes in her kids, and because Mr. Belding trusts Miss Bliss, he ultimately agrees to the idea under the sole circumstances that the dance be held in the cafeteria the following Saturday, and that Miss Bliss be present to chaperone. This becomes a huge issue since the dance interferes with her Save the Whales meeting.
Oh, that was the fastest dance in school history.
You were lower than a urinating fire hydrant, Belldog.
Okay. I'll pretend I didn't hear that.
So we almost got we had a little proto-Belding laugh in this scene.
Yes, it's his first laugh, and what he's laughing at is the idea that children should be able to dance together.
And it's not quite like a full-on laugh, but it's just kind of like the
He also
he doesn't go quite as long and hard.
He also mentioned heartbreak from his past when...
Right, this is my issue
he
too,
thought
go
he had a
ahead.
date with a woman, and then she changed her mind and went with someone else, and that's shitty. I can understand him being mad, but then he hated the guy, so now he got revenge by suspending his kid last week. And I'm like, what'd the kid ever do to you, Mr. Belding?
Right.
Yeah, what a piece of shit.
Right, this is very dark. Mr. Belding is like a huge dick. First of all, he starts... The way he talks about this woman, it's basically he starts masturbating and crying in his office.
And lubricating his dick with his tears.
Well, they did the sitcom-y thing where he starts reminiscing, and he has that smile on his face, oh, she was wonderful. And then he his face goes all serious, and he gets all dark. And he's like, then she dumped me, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, that's not how memories work. You don't remember things completely chronologically where you're just happy about
remember the good part and then
the bad
remind
part
you.
gets I'm like, the sad part's already with you.
Especially if probably 40 years later, I'm gonna say So my understanding is that Mr. Belding has forbidden all 8th grade dances because it's a painful memory for him.
Because he got cucked.
And I want to be 100% clear on this. If Belding's motivation for not allowing dances was because he was a fucking nerd that got burned at a school dance, I would love this concept a whole lot more.
It seems very straightforward at this moment that the reason he doesn't want dances because he got passed over as it.
At Bayside, it's because he's way too focused on being friends with the kids. Whereas
true.
Here, he's a lot more petty and insecure and tries to make it all about him.
Yeah, it's true, and it's funny because a consistent trait, probably the definitive trait of Belding, is that he's emotionally needy.
Right.
Yes.
But in the Miss Bliss episodes, it's about his coworkers.
Yeah.
I guess since he doesn't have any more coworkers in the high school episodes, it has to be about the kids.
The focus goes to the kids. It's his heart is bitter in the Bliss episodes, and then later he falls in love with Zack so much that Zack becomes his motivation. Like all of us. So yeah, Miss Bliss is able to convince the bell dog to have a dance, so long as she is going to be a chaperone. But she's got that date with Nerdface Sherman. So what are we gonna do?
And I love that he says the dance has to be this Saturday because the cafeteria is booked through the spring. And I just want to know what's booked in the cafeteria every Saturday for the rest of the spring.
Spaghetti dinners. You probably have a dare convention. You might have like
They could be doing spaghetti swinger
you could
club.
have like a choir concert or a band concert.
I think they're hosting mitzvahs, clearly.
That's what I'm getting at is I think that Belding is leasing the cafeteria to outside groups for cash on the side.
Oh yeah, I mean a lot of schools do.
But as this whole like, but that's the same time that I have the date with the Sherman thing really like resolves itself fine, I guess. Like,
yeah, it doesn't even get any more attention. It's just she's at the dance, and like it's set up here as like being a big obstacle, but then in the end she's just at the dance with him, and then they're gonna go to their dinner afterwards.
Yeah. They could have just not even mentioned it with the amount of tension it creates.
Well, because Principal Snowflake is here and still butthurt about someone who stole his date in 8th grade, why is this man in charge of a school and not in a straitjacket? Nikki tells Lisa that a cute guy named Jordan asked her to the dance, and Lisa tells her that she can't just say yes to the first guy who asked her. Nikki asks Lisa who's asked her, and she lists off several guys who have.
So we go to the hallway, and Nikki finds Lisa, and Nikki is excited to have been asked out by somebody whose name I am not going to remember.
Dude, well, she's asked out by a bunch of people.
No, Lisa is.
Nikki's asked out by one.
Oh, I don't even care about that.
Yeah, Lisa is shopping around for men and advises Nikki to break a lot of hearts and make a lot of future buildings.
So this is interesting. I would call it non-canonical. This is the only time ever that Lisa has game.
She did land that nerd boy, but she did sell her identity to do it. It's kind of close to like the way she shops at the mall is the way she's acting about men, but she certainly doesn't keep game.
Well, it's like usually she has no love interests ever, basically, in the whole series. Mm-hmm. And in this one, she has like 10 dates. It was not consistent with her character that we come to know.
But then she also says like somebody asked her, and she's like, no, he makes Screech look like Rob Lowe, which 80s.
Right.
And then Screech is all excited about that, too. But that doesn't really go anywhere, except for a very interesting line we'll get to later.
Well, it's pretty crazy that there's somebody lower than Screech.
I know, I wanted to say
I think they said his name was No Neck Nelson.
Ooh.
So I think the idea is he's the fat kid.
Or he just wasn't born with a neck and the children deride him.
Yeah, either way, he's a physically deformed freak or a fat monstrosity, and that's the only thing Screech can be better than.
He's just a floating head.
Zack meets Mikey in the bathroom, and he asks Zack for advice on how to ask a girl to the dance. He tells Mikey to look in her eyes and make sure she knows he likes her.
We go to the coolest place ever to talk about toilet secrets.
Yeah.
We're in the boys' room, and Mikey is trying to figure out how to get the girl. And Zack comes in to teach him about how to be cool.
And he curiously does not mention the girl he's interested in.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a real hole in this plot.
Really,
Did any
really
of you guys...
is.
Just like a wide open hole that's waiting.
Just a throbbing hole.
The whole
just a
throb?
pulsating hole. Did any of you guys ever barricade the bathroom to be in there alone together?
I'd just say if I ever came across in like high school or middle school a barricaded boys' bathroom door, my mind's wandering as to what's going on in there, and I can guarantee you, talking about how to get a date with a girl is not what I'm thinking is happening in there.
Screech tries to get into this bathroom while they're having their secret boys talk, and Screech has to take the shit of his life.
Yeah.
They're like,
He's really bursting
use
at
the
the
bathroom on the
seams.
second floor. He's like, and I kind of like the audio effect of this. He's like, all right, but I don't know if I'm gonna make it. And like it trails off like the last two words as he's clearly running
And
away.
that'd be difficult with all the obstacles up there to like get through the tires and like swing across the road.
That was Bayside.
Yeah, this is John F. Kennedy.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's something fucked up going in JFK High School.
Yeah, well, we'll never know.
middle school.
I like when Zack and Mikey are reminiscing about their experiences.
Oh boy.
And they're like, remember when we peeped at girls and you stood on my shoulders? He's like, yeah, and then we just ended up peeping at that grandmother. And it's like, what?
Yeah, she was soaking her teeth, which I think is a euphemism.
Yeah.
Well,
I do
but
too.
Why did they keep watching
I don't
her?
know. I just wrote down like, aw, little sex criminals.
Because when you're a horny 8th grader, you take what you can get, Ryan. This is pre-internet.
It's true.
Like Mikey thinks this is like a big deal.
to like ask, hey, how do you talk to a lady? Like, I don't know. This doesn't seem like something you need to be very secretive about.
He's bashful.
No, you really don't. So then I love that they turn, hey, remember that time that we tried to peep on some girls and failed, into like an example of a time that Mikey wasn't afraid to go after a girl? And I'm like, that's not going after a girl at all in any way. That's like you're peeping through a window because you're too afraid to like make a move. That's like the exact opposite of going after her.
Hey, Austin, it takes bravery to stalk a woman.
That's the first sign of courtship, is when you jack off with another boy from outside the window.
Yeah, that's a tribute.
So let me ask you a question, Carol.
Uh-huh.
As the female representative on our show.
Ooh, a lot of pressure.
As a representative of
Yeah.
all
Yes,
women.
You're
I
speaking
got
for
this.
all women here.
For the female community.
Yeah, if a guy comes up to you, looks deep into your eyes and says, "Woman, you're awesome." Is it just like it's just like he bought a one-way ticket to Pound Town at that point? 8th
It's
graders.
not clever writing.
Like what an 8th grade player who thinks he's got game would say, and he clearly is just full of it, or if they just were like, fuck it, and wrote it.
The problem is that there is so much sexism that there is no word you can call a lady person that is okay.
Men have really ruined this shit for each other.
Everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
nothing you can say anymore that doesn't have a negative connotation because of horrible men.
Hello, nice lady.
And later, Zack asks Shayna to the dance, unaware that the girl Mikey was planning to ask. She eagerly says yes and tells him that she bought a new miniskirt just for the occasion. This is when Zack's sleaze meter goes off. Ding, ding, ding. Shayna tells Mikey that his help earned her a B+ on her first test, and she kisses him on the cheek. She tries to follow Zack's advice and asks her to the dance, only to find that she's already has a date with Zack.
We go back to the hallway, and Shayna wants Zack to take her to the dance, and she is pretty much as horned up as someone. Maybe she should go into professional vending machine stalking when
When
she's
I
an
think
adult.
about the fact that they're in
She
8th
wants
grade,
the
it
ZD.
actually makes you uncomfortable when you're like,
Yeah. What if she's like 11? It's not okay. She's talking about wearing a mini skirt, a leather mini skirt, and putting her pussy out.
and that
Yeah.
the curfew's 11:30, and then Zack's asked, but the dance ends at 9:30. What are we gonna do for 2 hours? And the answer's obvious. And they're in 8th grade. This doesn't feel
Finger
right.
banging. Finger bang. And
Oh,
we're
yeah.
gonna go to class. And Mikey has helped Shayna with her homework better than her stupid ex-boyfriend and her stupid dad. But turns out she's going to the dance with somebody else.
And that somebody is Zack Morris.
Yeah, and Mikey's pissed, and Zack hasn't done anything wrong. I guess we should point that out.
Right.
Yeah,
For once, he hasn't.
Yeah, I know. Like, for once in Saved by the Bell, Zack is actually innocent,
Yeah.
and he wasn't even like creepy about
he's
how he got a date with her.
God knows he has done and will do a lot of shitty stuff. This one really isn't on him at all.
Well, I got a question for you guys. Do you guys think that once Mikey explained to Zack that he was going to ask out Stuff
Shayna.
Magazine's number 87 most attractive woman,
One.
that Zack should have canceled the date with her?
No.
No?
Well, we
You
kind of had
cannot
this
call
argument
dibs.
before, and it's up to Zack. I mean, I think Mikey should be a better person and just say, oh, all right, especially since he never, for whatever reason, he never mentioned the woman's name in the bathroom.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if Mikey wants to put a referendum on Zack, then it's up to Zack to decide what he wants to do. But I don't know, it's up to Zack, I guess.
But it's really up to Mikey to say the person's name. I know we're all suffering under sitcom cliches here with that kind of amnesia that we can't say a proper noun. But unless you tell your friend, hey, could you not ask out this guy? I think he's really hot, and I don't want you to mess it up, David. Well, you have to ask that very clearly, and it's up to them to say yay or nay.
What complicates it to me is that she seems fine with either one of them.
Yeah.
Also worth pointing out that Zack didn't, I mean, he technically asks her to the dance, but she went up to him and was like, Zack asked me to the dance. With her talk of, you know, curfews and mini skirts and whatnot. Like, she clearly was interested in Zack. And then when Mikey asked her, she's like, oh, yeah, no, I hadn't really considered that, but sure, you're a nice guy. I'd go with you, but I already have a date.
Yeah.
Like,
well,
Zack's her first choice. That doesn't mean she doesn't like Mikey and wouldn't have gone with him, but I think it's pretty clear that she wants to go with Zack.
Milo tells Miss Bliss that Mr. Belding has made a list of rules to take all the fun out of the dance. Let's make it a list of the most unreasonable demands ever conceived, such as there will be no band, no slow dancing, and most importantly, no fun. What's left for them to do than just sit and stare at each other while they hold hands and sing Kumbaya?
And he's still debating whether the dance should be co-ed.
Milo tells her that Mr. Belding doesn't know can't hurt him and tosses all the rules aside. Since Mr. Belding won't allow a band, the girls are searching for a DJ. Screech insists that he should be the DJ, and reluctantly, the girls agree. Hope you all enjoy ear-piercing tunes.
So get ready to shake your keister, because I'm the Screechster.
Screech, no.
Miss Bliss tells Tina that Sherman mistook her cancellation for an invitation to the dance. She explains that he will be there against her will. Wait, what? How could you misread that? If someone asked me to go to an 8th grade dance full of minors was a trendy thing, I'd tell them to go get on the predatory registry. Mikey tells Zack that Shayna was the girl he was telling him about, and Zack insists that it was an innocent mistake. They begin to push each other, and thankfully Miss Bliss steps in before Mr. Belding can get involved. She tells him that their friendship is so much more important, and that any form of fighting is not worth it.
Sherman's coming to the dance.
Yeah.
Assuring that there will be no conflict or anything interesting. So it's like, oh, by the way, and then Sherman's
I feel like that's this series in a nutshell. Like, they introduce a bunch of conflicts, but really only one of them ever matters.
And it's the Zack one.
If that.
And it's the Zack one, yeah.
And yeah, Tina, it doesn't really want Sherman to come and have time with Miss Bliss. It really seems like Tina is missing their lesbian fingering scissor
other
time.
times they could scissor. Like one night of scissor. Tina can't go a whole night without scissoring.
A whole night.
David, can you ever get enough scissoring?
Well, I'm a rare specimen, Austin. I think some people would get tired.
And Zack made a balloon weasel. I thought that was prophetic.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't even notice that. That is good
Yeah,
symbolism.
well, and it's all just to set up the joke when he's like, "Look, Mikey, a weasel," and then Mikey pops it. He's like, "Pop goes the weasel." But nevertheless, it was an eerie bit of foreshadowing.
Well, I thought he was going to call Zack a weasel, which was a waste of an opportunity.
He should have. So we go here into what is the part that is later mirrored when we get Slater's knops out, but here it's a bit more chaste with a full boy-on-boy push fight.
Oh, man. They do that shoulder bump thing?
I know,
love
that's
that.
a classic
Boys
move.
pushing boys. Do you remember in like middle school when like boys would fight, but they're not like doing full punches and they're just like kind of that shove thing?
No one
Yeah.
really wants to, because if you punch somebody, then you're probably going to get punched yourself, and no one wants to get punched in the face.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's like a threshold you just try not to cross.
But I don't know who wants to see Zack get
I like
hit in
seeing
the face,
other people
right?
get punched in the face.
Me too. But Miss Bliss breaks it up and drags those boys by their proverbial ears into her classroom to talk about friendship.
I was going to say, probably when I think of the Miss Bliss episodes, the number one thing that immediately comes to my mind is tonight. That's right. There's gonna be a fight.
Belding is worried about fights, and the boys are fighting. It's horns and reindeers bumping each other in the head in this cafeteria.
I do like that Miss Bliss doesn't belittle the
Right.
problem.
Yeah.
Like, she's like, yeah, you know, fighting over a girl is a serious thing, but your friendship is also kind of important. Like, she's not like, don't be dumb kids, this won't matter,
But she does a piss poor job of resolving the problem, or like even de-escalating it at all or anything.
Your girl, say, Mikey, when you were in the bathroom, did you ever bother to disclose the apple of your eye? Sorry, Mikey. Zack may have his ways and power to help stop time later on in the Saved by the Bell series, but one power he's never acquired, nor do any of us ever acquire, is the ability to read minds. If you don't claim it first, it's fair game, buddy. You're lost.
Well, Mr. Teen Idol kidnapped my date to the dance.
It's not kidnapping when they go willingly.
On to Saturday night as the middle school dance is in full swing, sporting some of the worst 80s fashion and the last-minute cheapskate treats, sugar cookies, and watered-down Tang and Hawaiian Punch. At the dance, Lisa reveals that she took all 10 guys who asked her to the dance. And Screech Mania, well, let's just say that has everyone pretty much on the dance floor screeching to a halt.
Thank you, you're beautiful.
Zack looks quite comfy in his thrown-together pajamas and Hugh Hefner robe.
And so, yeah, Zack comes in with Shayna. And
her miniskirt.
And what?
And her leather miniskirt.
I'm pretty sure that's not
Number
leather.
81. It's pleather.
She lied to Zack
I know.
about the fabric.
Their whole relationship is predicated on a lie.
All I'm saying is, if you write in dialogue and make a plot point out of someone's clothing, and then you show them in that clothing later, make damn sure that it matches what you said in your dialogue.
Well, they probably got a leather miniskirt, then put a 14-year-old in it, and then realized the horrible mistake they have made.
That's optimistic, and I'm gonna go with that.
And then they were like, oh shit, we're making porn, we better stop this.
The birth of the Big Bopper Belding takes the center stage as he sports his dad grooves. Don't quit your day job. This is an American Bandstand.
I usually only get like this on New Year's Eve.
Screech is relieved of his duties as DJ Ray Charles takes the center stage in the edition of Soul Train.
It sounds exactly the same. He comes in with this big preamble to put on pretty much the same track. But what I do like is it looks like that actor is auditioning for the Stevie Wonder biopic 10 years too early.
Oh, I thought that too. I was like, is he trying to do like a Stevie Wonder thing here?
He is wearing dark sunglasses and snapping, and it's like you think he's blind just because of Stevie Wonder.
Yeah.
It's a dirty job, but hey, someone has to go fill this waste of empty dance space.
Just relax. Mingle. Talk to Sherman.
I have talked to Sherman. Please don't make me do it again.
All the while, students are sitting in pins and needles, hoping that Mikey Tyson doesn't rearrange Zack's jaw. Well, ask and you shall receive, and Mikey comes storming. The crowd makes room for him and Zack's epic stare down. Despite Belding's wanting to stop it, the adults figure, if they come this far, let's just let them kill each other and get over with. However, Zack puts bros before girls and tells Mikey that this bop's on me. Mikey accepts his apology and the two agree to share and to be friends forever. Well, at least until the Disney Channel cancels the show and replaces Mikey with the Brillo pad hair wearing AC Slater.
Thank you.
Anyone should be the a-hole of the hour, it's Mikey. Not only that, but what's up with Shayna? Seriously, she should have known better that any guys worth fighting over you are no catch. She should tell them to pick a number and get in line for some other girl, and that fighting with her is so childish.
I don't want you guys fighting over me.
We're not. It's between me and my ex-best friend.
Honestly, how can these two go from almost killing each other to being best friends in a New York minute? I guess in the sitcom world, all you need is a dose of that Full House problem-solving music and serenity now.
See? I told you there was nothing to worry about.